All right. So as I said a few weeks back when I made my box office review of Memorial Day weekend, I knew it would overperform. I said that and I was correct. Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible alone was $550 million or something like that, which means they made over $500 million off of this. And this wasn't even like categorized as an event. If you want to be honest, like Lilo Impossible was something I jokingly came up with. And I'm not even responsible for it being big. It's just a holiday weekend and a family friendly movie go together like butter and toast. So you put out something like Lilo and Stitch on a Memorial Day weekend, and then you put out something like Mission Impossible with no competition but Lilo and Stitch, it's going to do well at the box office. I mean, Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise. Now, a lot of people were saying Mission Impossible is going to open up and flop because of its big budget, which I understand. And Mission Impossible could still very much flop because of its big budget. But at the same time, that still doesn't hurt the box office profits of over $500 million. Like the theaters didn't give a fuck. They was like, hey, listen, our food sales and concession sales are selling like crazy. The buckets is selling like crazy. The cups are selling like crazy. Like the theater I go to, they was out of Lilo and Stitch buckets. And some of those people was probably going to see Mission Impossible. And then you have Mission Impossible buckets. I got one. I got the bucket and the cup. The combo was $30. Imagine selling 100 of those a day for 4 days straight. You see what I'm saying? So even if Mission Impossible doesn't do well ticket sale wise, it's gonna do well off merchandise and food because you know what I'm saying it is what it is. Nobody's going to see that 3 hour movie with no food in their hand. It is what it is. When you take kids to the theater, they want popcorn and all that shit, and they want the bucket, they want the little straw with Stitch on it. It's dominated. It dominated. And that's not even adding the fact that Final Destination made like 20 million this weekend. Sinners made another like 11, 12 million. Same with Thunderbolts, another 12, $13 million. So the box office, all in all, probably really cracked like 590, like a 590, maybe even like $600 million. And for some reason, I'm trying to figure out why they didn't talk about that. Because if you want to keep it a buck, when Wicked, Moana, and Gladiator 2 was in the box office, that made like four something that weekend, and they called it a phenomenon. But this made this had to have made about $600 million. Now, there's probably somebody out there willing to do the math better than I am. I don't blame them if they do. It just is what it is. But Lilo and Stitch opened up to what 182 million after Monday, and Mission Impossible was somewhere around over 80. But then you got to add in the fact that there's a worldwide thing that no one ever talks about, and which means Lilo and Stitch really opened to like 361, and Mission Impossible opened to 204, 206 million. Yeah, man, they opened up. They showed up and showed out. I mean, they didn't even really market this as a Lilo Impossible or Mission Stitch or whatever type thing. They didn't do that. And as far as I'm concerned, this year we don't really have one of those. So we don't know what could happen. But at the same time, people alike seem to enjoy Mission Impossible enough. I didn't hate the movie. I wanted to love it. It's just okay. Lilo and Stitch, there was some charm there. It was cute. I like the fact that they kind of didn't try to overdo the story or anything like that. And I enjoyed that part a lot. All in all, like I said, I loved the Thunderbolts. I loved Sinners. I thought Final Destination was fun. I've seen all five of those top five movies in the box office right now, and it's looking like a strong summer. It's looking like a strong summer. Final Destination is profiting. It's been profiting since its opening weekend because the early projections of the budget was a lie, and they said it was 150 million. But no, it only cost 50 million. I looked up the budget and it cost 50 million. So 50 million, what's the budget? What's the profit? 180 some million. It's going to keep doing well until about June, which is next week, by the way. But it's going to keep doing well for a little while longer. I say one more weekend, which is this weekend coming up. I'd say Lilo and Stitch might cross 500 million by itself, maybe even 600 million, depending on people who missed it Memorial Day weekend. And we're heading into the summer, and nothing really big is coming out except for Ballerina, which is next week. But I don't think Ballerina is going to hurt either Lilo and Stitch or Mission Impossible. Then you have The fact that Sinners is for still making money. I do think it's coming to an end though, and unfortunately, I would have liked to have seen Sinners hit 350, which is about Alien Romulus numbers, but it just didn't do it, and that's fine. I mean, I would have loved a more big representation overseas because I think if the marketing for overseas was big, I think Sinners would have cracked like 400 or 500 million. But unfortunately, we know why Sinners didn't do well overseas because even if America's America and we still got issues here, other countries really don't like seeing that type of stuff either. So that's just neither here nor there. Thunderbolts, unfortunately, might end up bombing just because, and it's a much better movie than Brave New World, but Brave New World still did better in the box office. That doesn't mean I want either one to fail. I would like to see each of them succeed, but it is unfortunate because the Thunderbolts probably isn't going to be out too much longer either. I'd say maybe another 2 or 3 weeks at max because they're not going to want to have Lilo and Stitch, Mission Impossible, Final Destination, Thunderbolts, Sinners, and then Ballerina, and then The Materialist, and then House Train Dragon, then Elio, then all that. They're not going to want all that shit in theaters at the same time, even if it does attract a bunch of different people, a bunch of different foot traffic. You're still going to hurt some other films box office wise, and some of these theaters want to see big money, which is why I think the Thunderbolts might not be in theaters too much longer. It does blow because it hasn't really been in theaters a month yet. So I would like it to be in theaters longer than a month, but this packed ass like 12 to 16 weeks between May and August, it's just bound to happen. But I am happy for the Memorial Day box office. I really am. And I think it's weird they haven't talked about just how much money this has made. They're only talking about Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible, but they're not adding in Final Destination or Sinners or Thunderbolts. That all three of those movies that have been in the box office have still crossed double digit numbers. And Final Destination is doing well overseas as well. It's doing well overseas and here. That's crazy that its opening weekend, it was split 50-50, 51 million apiece. So it's been doing well in both regions. Sinners is still going strong, even though it's going to come to digital soon. I'm happy it did successful. Thunderbolts unfortunately might end up bombing, which sucks. Which sucks so bad, like because it's really good. It's a really great film. I would love to see Lilo and Stitch make at least as much as Minecraft, even if people don't think it's good. I thought it was fair. I thought it was fine. I would like to see Mission Impossible break even, but that would require it to make $1 billion probably, and it's just not going to go down like that. It's just not going to go down like that. That was crazy. And I'm assuming Tom Cruise was thinking people would line up. But if most people didn't line up before Dead Reckoning, but that's only because of Barbenheimer. I think if Dead Reckoning had like another 2 weeks to itself, I think it would have been fine. But it was a week before Barbenheimer. It was still going fairly strong under Barbenheimer, but it just wasn't going to happen, bro. Just wasn't going to happen. So now we got to see what happens. But so far as I'm concerned, Memorial Day box office was a huge success for the theaters, for studios, for people who like cinema. It was kind of a win for those people because it seems like it just seems fine to dislike those movies. And you're entitled to your opinion, but if you want to see the theater succeed, something's got to make money. Something has to make money, even if the movie sucks. Something's got to make bread. So Minecraft started it. Thunderbolts kind of continued it. Sinners damn sure continued it. Then you had Final Destination. Then you had these two Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible kind of really boosting that shit up. So I can't really be mad if the box office is succeeding. We were concerned in quarter one, but now quarter two, like I said, was going to be insane. So enjoy while we can because quarter three starts in what, July? No, quarter three starts. Quarter three might not start till like August. So quarter two ends in July, and that's when we'll see what it really looks like going forward. Damn, I could be wrong. I'm sorry. Quarter quarter three does start in July. Quarter two ends in next month. In July, it opens up quarter three, and July is going to be a massive situation because you have Jurassic Park, Superman, and Fantastic Four together. So I'll definitely talk about that when that time comes. But for right now, let's just enjoy the fact that the Memorial Weekend box office did well, and I hope to see more box office numbers like this in the future coming up. And that's really all I got to say on the topic. So if you made it this far, smash that like button, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one.